What's up, everyone? This is Maximilian again, and we are continuing our walkthrough of Pokemon Silver. This time we are going to be going through the Bellsprout Tower, or whatever exactly it's called. I don't know if there's like an official name for it, like the Bellsprout Shrine or Dojo or whatever, but it's the Bellsprout Tower, basically. Apparently that center beam is rumored to have been a 100-year-old, or 100-foot tall, Bellsprout, that was acting as the foundation for the building, but whatever. We're in a Bellsprout Tower, which means you're going to be fighting a crap ton of Bellsprouts. Yeah. So if you ever thought fighting a bunch of Zubats in Mount Moon was monotonous, you haven't seen anything yet. Because these guys are all trainers. I mean, at least you're getting experience from it, so it's not terribly bad. And there is a limited number of them, so yeah. I guess Zubats are definitely worse in my opinion. We'll definitely concede that to the Zubat. Zubat, you still hold the crown for the world's most annoying Pokemon. May you never show up again. Rest you. So, I just wanted to touch up on a few things really quickly, since there's really not much going on at this point, at least for the next couple minutes. I noticed a lot of people have been leaving feedback on my videos, and whether it's suggestions or comments or just appreciation, I actually really appreciate your comments and your feedback. It helps me a lot, because number one, it shows you that you're actually taking time in supporting my videos, which is great, because I love it, the fact that my YouTube videos actually have an audience, and my audience is interacting with me. That's part of the best part of doing this. And secondly, it also gives me a little bit of info to which I can use to improve on, reflect on some of your critique and your feedback. Now, I've been trying to kind of like set aside some self-improvements, like goals for myself to work on while I've been doing this, because that Pokemon Red Rock that I first did was kind of like a learning experience for me, because I had never actually done this before. I mean, I wasn't exactly used to basically talking to myself almost for 15 minutes at a time, recording a commentary and putting it on a video. That's just something that was kind of like a foreign concept to me. Like, I had been doing speech classes and things like that, where I'd given presentations all throughout high school and college, but talking to yourself is a completely different experience. It seems really weird, and you have to get used to it, because when you're not actually addressing someone, you just kind of feel like you're a bit of a crazy person of some sort, especially since you also have the thought in your back of your mind, you're like, who could be listening to me right now? I wonder how many people think how much of a lunatic I am. But yeah, it was a learning experience for me. I wasn't used to it at first. My volume and rate were like very fluctuating, kind of soft, hard to get used to. I wasn't very confident. So I've been trying to work on that ever since Pokemon Red when I started it. So I've been noticing I've been getting better at that. But another thing I've been wanting to improve on, aside from just my vocal parts, what's the word I'm looking for? My vocal technique is basically what I'm talking about in these commentaries, the content rather. I noticed that occasionally I would go off on tangents when I was recording my Pokemon Red commentaries, because I would go back and watch these occasionally to kind of reflect on that and see, what could I improve on? Well, I noticed that honestly, one of the biggest things that came to my mind was relevancy. And I want to try and keep things related to Pokemon while we're talking about this, because otherwise it seems like, what's the point of doing a Pokemon video when I'm talking about something completely different? Although that's not to say that I won't exactly go off and do a little bit of anecdotes from my real life, because, I mean, that adds a bit of variety, which is quite nice. Because I'm pretty sure not all of you are here to watch a Pokemon solely for Pokemon info. I mean, this game was made, over 10 years ago, and it's not exactly, I guess, relevant to figure out how to be beating Pokemon Silver, so to speak. But at the same time, I want to try and keep things focused on what I'm doing, at least that way. It can seem like my video just isn't something completely random where I just kind of talked for 15 minutes and threw it onto the video. That way, my commentary is actually, I guess, somewhat... I don't want to say the word useful, because I don't know if you could really technically call this useful, but at least it's meaningful. At least it bears some kind of relation to what's going on right now. So those are just some things I've been working on. And if you guys do happen to have comment like a feedback or critique or anything, whatever, constructive criticism always helps. Just try not to be like real too in your face or like I guess troll-ish about it. Like, I always appreciate feedback and criticism. Please leave a comment in the video if you do want to, or if you have something to suggest, or you can send me a message. I'm usually pretty good at checking those as well, because this is a learning experience for me more than anything. Like, I may be doing this like for your enjoyment. However, I do want to improve at this, because this is a hobby that I enjoy pursuing. So if you have any feedback for me, I greatly appreciate it. Now, on to Pokemon. You'll notice I ran into a wild Ghastly a little while earlier, and I wasn't entirely sure how you could have run into a Ghastly this early in the game. I never remembered that happening when I first played it. However, I think I'm going to grab one later in the episode just because Ghost Pokemon tend to be a lot better in this game than they were in the original versions. I mean, the fact that they didn't have much of a moveset to learn kind of restricted their usefulness. But this early in the game, when you can diversify your party with a Ghost-type Pokemon, or Pokemon that are, like, I guess, exotic in a sense. Like, I don't know if it's not really exotic, because, I mean, Ghastly's from Red version and such. But the fact that you can get really powerful Pokemon types in your party this early in the game is very helpful. So I'm going to try grabbing some interesting ones along the way. And if I run into something cool or weird, I'll probably try and get it. I mean, we might as well, especially since it would save us time when we were actually going through trying to catch all the Pokemon for the Pokedex. Now, let's see. Oh, that reminds me, Pokemon. Since I caught a Pokemon, I didn't really bring it up. I probably should have, considering that I'm trying to stick with tradition here. But in keeping with our little thing we had going on in Pokemon Red, since we fought a gym leader, leave a comment in the video to let me know which Pokemon you'd like to see in my party to fight the Elite Four. Now, I know this kind of divides into a bit of like two sections of the game, because this is almost like playing two games in one, where you have the Johto region and Kanto region, except you only have one Elite Four, and that's directly after the Johto region. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll have like a separate poll for the Elite Four for Johto, and then I guess once we get into the Kanto gym leaders, we'll do like a separate super team or dream team or whatever for when we fight Red. Yeah, spoiler alert. Hopefully you guys didn't listen to anything I just said there. Disregard that. Get it out of your mind. Erase it. Oh well. You probably already knew if you're watching this. I mean, it's not like it's news or anything. This game has been out for Lord knows how long. So yeah, we'll do two separate polls. One for Johto and one for Kanto. So, since we fought a gym leader in Johto, leave a comment below and let me know what Pokemon that you would like to see in the Elite Four. Now, I would say keep it within reason. Granted, I'm going to try to satisfy this as much as I can. However, there are some Pokemon which are just ridiculously hard to catch. Namely, the legendary beasts that they have in this one. I think it's Entei, Suicune, and Raikou. But they are technically possible to catch before you get to the Elite Four. However, in my experience with playing this game, I have found catching them to be quite a nuisance. And I'm not actually sure if I even caught one. I may have caught only one of them when I was actually playing this game, like, as a young lad, when I actually had it for a Game Boy. That isn't to say that it won't be impossible. However, it would take me quite a while to actually obtain some of them. That is not to discourage from you from voting for them. Go ahead and vote for them if you must. But I would prefer that it would be something within reason. Which means we probably won't be able to do Mew. I think I have a way I think I will have a way to show you how to get Mew in this version. I'm still kind of working out the details with that. It's gonna be extraordinarily complicated. Like, if you thought the Mew glitch with like Red and Blue was really complicated, you haven't seen anything yet. But I'm going to try my best to get it, as well as Celebi, because that's it's kind of like the Mew of the second generation, the one that everybody wants to get their hands on. So I'm going to try to get that orchestrated as well. However, that's not going to be until much, much later in the game, so we don't even need to worry about that right now. I mean, in theory, the earliest we could do that is probably... Oh, goodness. We probably wouldn't even be able to do it until we got into Kanto, so I'm going to just throw it out there and say that it's out of the question. Just because the odds of us actually being able to do that are slim to none. So, fight your way through all those trainers. They're really not that difficult. I would recommend doing this after Falkner just because the last two trainers you have to fight are actually somewhat difficult and have much better Pokemon than Falkner does as a gym leader. If you did it in reverse order, that's no big deal, but this just tends to be easier. And it gets you a lot of experience, plus it lets you fight with Chikorita a lot, since you have a Grass-type Pokemon against their Bellsprouts that only know Vine Whip. So you can just sit there and tackle them all day and they won't be able to do a thing to you, which is awesome. Don't get me wrong. So, I don't know, I said don't get me wrong. That was stupid. Come on, Max. Quit saying stupid things in your commentaries. Don't make any sense. In case you were wondering, I do these as an impromptu exercise. I don't actually prepare like notes or anything for myself when I'm doing these commentaries. I just kind of like refresh myself in my mind. You know, what things do I want to address? What key points do I want to talk about? And then I'll just go for it. It's actually really good, not only for, I guess, getting your vocal technique down and your confidence with speaking, but it also helps a lot with public speaking because it helps you to formulate thoughts on the fly, which is excellent if you're ever going into things like a debate or a presentation. So, like if you have a book report due at the last minute or something like that you didn't exactly prepare for, you can actually wing it with great consistency if only you practice just enough. So, not that I would recommend procrastinating on a project or a book report or anything like that, but I'm just saying it can be done. So, what I'm going to do here is catch a Ghastly, because I figure might as well get him since he'll be much more useful later in the game. Considering that he's starting at level 3, it puts us at a bit of a handicap. We'll have to level grind him a little bit, but since our starting party is already in the teens, we're definitely well ahead of the game, so it's not like it's going to matter too much. They're a little bit more difficult to catch in this game. That's one thing that's notably different about Pokemon Silver as opposed to Red and Blue, at least from my observation. This might not be true, like statistically speaking, but it seems that Pokemon are much harder to catch in this game, especially with the Pokeballs as opposed to some of the better ones. So it may cause a little frustration. I'm pretty sure the down B whatever button combo that you're supposed to press whenever you're catching them doesn't work at all. Pretty sure it's just a myth. You don't have to, believe me on that. You could try it. I mean, it might work, but you also have to remember that correlation doesn't imply causation, so it might not necessarily be true, but hey, whatever gets the job done, go for it. So we still have this egg in our party, and I'm pretty sure it's going to hatch within one of the next 2 episodes. I can't say for certain because I can't remember how long exactly it took me to hatch it when I first got it. This was 10 years ago when I first got the game, so I'm still trying to pluck memories out of there. So if I'm digging into my mental archives here and I forget stuff, it's because it was a while ago. And honestly, most of that stuff has been long gone. So I apologize in advance. But we are going to hopefully hatch that egg soon, and you will get to find out what it is. I've already spoiled enough for 1 episode, so we're not even going to bother with that anymore. I will let you know, though, that since I am teaching Chikorita Flash, it's not the end of the world as it was in Red and Blue. There is actually a man that will let you forget HMs in this game, so it's not totally drastic if you use it on one of your good Pokemon. Just wanted to throw that out there. But anyway, next episode we're going to cover a little bit more. We'll go through Dark Cave, and we'll get into the next city. Until then, see you later.